Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Skaggy Bones with another video for you today. And we got the Giant Propel SLR. And we want to be changing out the tires. So, as I said, did a couple rides with these PR3s. These are front rear specific. They do have flat guard protection, but they are 20C, 23C, or 23 mil tires. So they work pretty good. I think they're slightly wider than 23 mil. I think they're more like 24 mil. Simply because they're 120 PSI max, which is pretty much the same thing that you get with Continental here. So I got Continental hard shell 25 millimeter tires, 25C. Right here is your 700 by 25C. If you can see right there. Okay, 25 mil tires. These are the Gator hard shells. So they're a little bit different than the Continental Gator skins that I have over here. Pull out the wheel. So as you can see here, here are my Continental Gator skins that I got, and these are what I was running on my Jamis bike. Now I do have a tire liner inside of these, so it's extra protection, extra puncture protection. Not that you really need it with the Gator skins, but I do have that. Just kind of a, I don't want to say superstition, but I've had great luck with tire liners, and so I kind of swear by them. So, and when you have something that works, you just stick with it. So the hard shell protection has, if you can see here, it has an extra layer of Kevlar in there. So right where the tire liner would be anyway. So there's almost a guarantee that you're not going to, and it's in between the rubber and the polybrake material, the Kevlar polybrake material weave. So you're probably not going to have any problems with these. So I'm just going to use these, no tire liners, not going to worry about it. Cutting down, these weigh a slight bit more than your standard Gator skins, not by much, but a few extra grams. So we're just going to go with these guys. Okay, so I already got them out of the box. If you notice here, your max PSI is 120, your nominal PSI is 95. That's what they say to put them at. And what they do is they actually they have a chart on here, and the ones in yellow is what you actually have. So 25 mil tires, you want to run them nominally at 95. If you want to go down more to like an 85 PSI, you want to go to a 32, vice 28. Now, I think the 28 you probably get away with running like 80 PSI and 85 PSI, but nominally that's what you want to run. Okay, so works pretty good. I've run the normal Gator skins at 85 before, and they say 95, but I've done it. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to change the tires on these guys, and we don't have to worry about front. I'm going to still keep these tires. Don't worry about that. We're going to use the same inner tubes that we got in here. If your inner tubes, when you're changing or you're upgrading between a 23 mil and a 25 mil, you can keep the same inner tubes. The inner tubes will stretch a little bit, so don't worry about that. What you would have to worry about is if you had like a time trial bike and you had like 19 mil tires and 19 mil inner tubes, and you're going to like a 23 mil, then you would, or a 25 mil, then you would have to worry about it. So, but we're not. So first thing we want to do, obviously, is we want to get we're going to get the front tire off here. We're going to start with our front tire, and we're going to loosen up our quick release skewer. Okay, I'll pop the quick release for the brake here as well. Get the wheel out, get the tire out. Okay, let's set that off. I'm going to pull both of them here. So here's our tires here. So I kind of laid them out, get them a little bit straight, because these folding ones, till you actually get them on, as you notice, they're a little, they're not really super straight because they fold real easily. No wire beads in these. Okay. So same thing with the back. I'm going to release a quick release for the brake. We're going to put this into the lower gear. So Now, we could probably put in our dummy hub if we really wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. Just because I'm not saying this won't take a little bit of time, but it's just, I don't think it's necessary. I do have a chainstay protector here, so not too worried about it. Okay, so just get that off. Pull your wheel, you got your wheel here. So I'm gonna set that off to the side, and we're gonna start with the front wheel. So once again, pretty easy to do. I'm gonna go over to our toolbox. And I am going to pull my extra tire levers out of my toolbox. Always keep a set of tire levers in my bike bag and then a set in the toolbox. Let the air out. Now one thing, to give you guys a heads up, I got this air compressor from Home Depot, $65, their brand. It's a 2-gallon, I believe, two or 3 gallon pancake compressor, and I'm going to be using that sucker. So one thing also you want to do, take off the little lock nut here, holds it onto the rim. You want to put that off the side. I know we did a video on this once, but kind of figure I'd do it again for these guys just in case there's any differences. Push up on the stem, get the valve stem kind of out of the way. You're pushing up on there to relieve some of the pressure in between the tire wall and the inner tube. Okay, and then the next thing you want to do is you kind of want to take your thumb all the way around and pinch towards the middle, and this will allow the bead to come loose from the rim. Okay, so I haven't really fiddled with these new DT Swiss wheels that they have made for them. We're going to see how they work. So as you can see here, comes away pretty easily, and bam, right there. Comes right off, really easy off this rim. So as you can see, now we have our plain rim. I'm going to kind of check here just to make sure the lining tape is in good shape. As you can see here, we kind of got a little bump there, not much, not a big problem. It's a little bit of a kind of a curve in that tape. So I kind of take it here, grab it with my fingernail, get it straightened out, flatten out a little bit. Shouldn't really affect anything, but you never know. In the long term, you don't know what causes punctures on inner tubes and things like that. So I kind of take my thumb in there. There's, like I said, it was a little bit weird how it was in there. Take that rim tape and just kind of push it flat a little bit better. With your nail. You can use your nail, or you can get a piece of plastic like so, and you can kind of come in there and just flatten it out just a little bit. Take the edge, this back edge right there, take that and kind of just go over that rim tape. Okay, so rim tape looks good. I'm gonna kind of set this aside for right now. Okay, so as you can see, the inner tube kind of came out with it. We're going to pull the inner tube out of the tire. Kind of stayed with the tire. And yeah, these are not folding tires. The next ones up are. Now, what was interesting is when I was looking at the rear tire, and I'm trying to see here if I can find it for you. there was a spot that I was kind of worried about a little bit. It looked like the inner weave was coming out. And so what you can do is kind of look on the inside, see if that's the case, which it doesn't look like. No, there's no cuts in it, so it was just kind of an imperfection in the tire there. Like I said, are these tires, are we going to keep these? Yeah, I got a set of tires over there. I have some a Vittorio tire, and I have a couple of Gator Skins that are still pretty good, so I will keep these. There is an indicator on these. There's not two indicators like there are on the Gator Skins. That's why I almost was wondering if these were made by Continental. It says made in Taiwan. Don't know who actually makes these Giant tires. It's not Giant directly. They have a company that makes them the same way as they have somebody make their wheels for them. But they buy the DT Swiss components and stamp their name on it. But we're gonna save these. We will use these at some other point or as emergency backup tires. So let's set those off the side. Once again, we're not going to need a specific. We notice this is a longer valve stem, and that's because these rims are 30 mil deep, so they're a lot more deep than this rim here. We kind of set this rim here like so. You notice you got probably about, these are like 25 mil rims, and these are 30 mil, so they're a little bit deeper section wheel, and so you need a little bit more valve stem than you do on these guys. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take and blow up our inner tube just a little bit. So I just take my mallet. Okay. I screw in the Presta portion of the valve so I don't lose that air that I do have in there. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to lay the inner tube on top of the wheel like so. Okay. Like this. I'm just going to kind of put it on top. Trying to actually look and see, make sure we can actually use this guy for this. Okay, so I was looking at this, and this is actually an 18C inner tube. It'll only go up to 23C, so we do not want to actually use this inner tube for these tires, for these new tires. Okay. Now, when I bought my Jamis bike, it came with a little heavier inner tube, so we're not going to use this inner tube. I'm not saying that this wouldn't work, but according to this, it says 1823 there. We're using a 25 mil tire, so I'm not going to use this guy. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull out, I think. Okay. Now, if you look at this guy here, this inner tube doesn't look much thicker. Okay, it really doesn't. It looks almost the same, but we know it's not. So I take those plastic pieces and I just kind of, I don't really ever use them again. Take off your nut, keep the nut, you want that, obviously. So this almost looks the same. thickness wise. So, you know, could you use it? Yeah, sure. I am going to look in my saddlebag. I want to kind of see what I got inner tube wise. So here's what I'm actually going to do. I got two inner tubes. One has a patch on it, which is okay because it's not a quick patch. It's an old school patch, right? That should last for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these inner tubes and I'm going to blow these suckers up. And actually, you know what? I don't think I want to do that. I don't want to rewrap these. You know what? Here's what we're going to do, folks. We're going to try the smaller inner tube. We're going to use that inner tube that's down there, and we're going to see how it fits in the 25 mil tire. So we'll be back. Get this stuff back in my bag. It's going to be an experiment, folks. Normally I would have kind of researched this ahead of time, but I'm all about doing stuff live, right? Everybody likes the live stuff. No one wants to see anymore. Everybody wants to see everything impromptu, right? So, gonna zip back my saddlebag. We're gonna try using this guy. This guy here says it's the right size. So we're gonna put this on this wheel, and then we're gonna pump her up, and we're gonna see what we get. So I'm gonna grab my pump here. Like I said, I don't have a floor pump, like a real floor pump, a big track pump. I just don't have one. I've never bought one. I've spent a lot of money on these guys and kind of really don't want to have one. So I've always put the lock nut on, and the reason for that is get that on there to get it pumped up just a little bit, not. Okay, so we're not going to put a ton of air in this, folks. Okay, so the big thing is just to get a little bit of air into this so that we can so it'll stay on the rim. That's really all we're trying to do. There we go, we got enough. Okay, we're going to screw this down, the valve down. You want to screw it down so the air doesn't come out, so you don't actually bump it. And we're going to start with our first hard shell tire. So first thing we're going to do is I set the tire over the whole thing, like so. And then the other thing, so if you notice, the best way to make your thing look pro is to get your thing there, your emblem and all that stuff over the valve stem, and then this will go on the other side. It's handmade in Germany part. So the easiest way to do is start it off that way instead of trying to spin it. So come over to your Continental Gator skin. Get it like halfway in the middle, like so. Your handmade in Germany will be over this PA2 portion. I like to get it completely even. It just makes it look real pro. real professional. That's what the pros do. If you have a single markings on your wheels, then it looks even better. If you have multiple markings like these wheels do, it doesn't matter as much, but it just makes it look a lot more pro. So got overall the tire on there. Okay, so then I start opposite end of the valve stem. Okay, and I kind of get this in here like so, and this is where, now this is over top. Okay, I can take this, unscrew, let some air out, flatten it down a little bit, and then I start on this side and I push the bead of the tire into the edge. Okay, so the big thing that I'm trying to do is get the bead of the tire over the edge of the rim. Okay, like so. I just kind of get it over like this. Okay, just like this, while keeping the inner tube on the inside of the tire. Okay. Just like that. Okay. So now the tire is on the inner part of the rim, and the inner tube should still be right there. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this guy up. And I'm going to push up on the valve stem, because I like to start from this portion of the tire here to make sure the bead is in. So I push up as far as I can, like so. And I start and I get that portion of the bead in there, and then that, because that's the biggest place people get pinch flats, is right at the valve stem. Okay. And then I get that portion of the bead in, and then I just start and I get the tire all the way around. And this portion, you really need to go, as you start up here, you need to work with both sides, because if you just go one side, the other side will pop off. So you need to keep the other side going in as you go across the tire, or sorry, the wheel, and the tire for that matter. Kind of just keep pushing it across. And then this is where, with the hard shells and the gator skins, that I kind of need the tire levers. It's because they get very tight. So I take a tire lever and I shove it up underneath and catch it. Okay, so this portion here, if you see this little notch, I take it up the opposite way and I shove it up underneath the, right here, and I catch it on the inside of the rim. I start on, I don't go to the center of where the bead still needs to be pushed on. I come here and I pop it just, see, and it pops the bead in. Okay, and then I kind of hold it there, and then come to the other end like so. I get up under the tire, and the reason I use the plastic ones is because I don't want to damage the braking surface. Okay, these braking surfaces, you get something metal on there and you're just going to damage it. So I kind of get it like this. You notice that I don't have much left, then I just pop the rest of it, and then tire levers pop out. Okay, and then one of the last things we do, of course, is you want to take, you want to look and make sure there is none of the inner tube that is sitting underneath the bead of the tire. Okay, so how I do that can see here. See how that's over there, like so. It's a little off, just a little bit, because you have, I kind of centered it over the Continental Gatorson shell thing, but you have this hard shell 25mm. So what I do then is I make sure my valve stem is out. I grab my pump. I screw this in a little bit so that I can get some, I'm not pushing on it too hard. So I can get enough on there to actually activate the inner tube. And I give it some pumps, like so. Okay. And once I've started pumping, I don't want to get more than, let's see what we got PSI wise. I don't want much more than 20-30 PSI in the tire at this point in time. Okay. I want enough for the inner tube to be pressing on the tire, but not to be like really hard. Okay. I want enough that the tire can bounce, because at this point, when I pull my, I want to actually be able to kind of pinch the tire and look to make sure that there is no bead or no part of the inner tube that's pushing underneath the bead of the tire. So I'm going to start with one side and I'll work my way all the way around the tire, and then I'll do the same thing, because one of the last things you really want is to get a pinch flat. So I kind of get let's get you down here. So I kind of get down here like so, and I push, and the tire's actually in there pretty good. And just kind of take a look at it like so, all the way around the tire. Make sure that the bead, because the bead isn't going to sit at the bottom of where the rim tape is. It's not the whole point of it. The bead is going to actually catch inside the bead. The problem is when you first get the tire on the first time, it's sitting under, it's not always sitting under the inner tube properly. The inner tube's not always in there. Okay. Okay. That looks good. So then I'm going to, now that this is tightened down, and get this on there, I'm going to keep pumping it up. Now normally I'd be using my air hose. I just don't have a Presta fitting. I have a Schrader valve fitting. I don't have a Presta fitting. Now that's on order. Get them through Amazon. As you can see, I keep pumping up the tire. And at this point, I'm going to get it to about 50 or 60 PSI. Okay? And then I'm going to bounce the tire a little bit. I'm just going to kind of bounce it. And what that's doing is you're going to have some portions where the bead might actually might be down inside the wheel near the rim tape. And you actually want it to pop into place inside the bead of the wheel, okay? So, inside the clinching area, okay? I'm going to do that, kind of bounce it just a little bit, and then I keep pumping. And at this point, we're at 50 pounds. And now it's 60 pounds, and I want to kind of go slowly. I don't want to do super fast at this point in case there's a tiny there shouldn't be a pinch at this point. At 60 pounds, you're probably not got any pinches in there. Normally, if you have a pinch in there, it's gonna you're gonna notice it far before that. So. Well, keep going. We're at 70 pounds now. And I'm going to go up to, I'm going to go right up to 80 with it. Now, if you're really worried, you heard that? That was the bead popping into place. I don't know if you actually heard that little, that was the bead popping into place. If you're really worried about it not catching all the way, what you can do is get it up to about 80, let it sit overnight, and then check it in the morning, balance it, take the bike off while it's on there, roll it around a little bit, ride it. One thing you can do is ride it down the street very lightly. Jump on the bike and just kind of ride it a little bit and then repump up your, then get it the extra 20 pounds. The Gator skins I run at 95. I don't run any higher than 95 with the Gator skins. I just don't do it, okay? Even with my weight, which is a lot heavier than a lot of guys, I tend to keep it that way. So right now we're gonna keep it at 80. And the other thing too, where the popping was occurring was right here in the valve stem. So I'm going to take and put that there. Okay. And it looks like this inner tube is holding. It should do fine. So we're going to put this guy back on our bike. Let's get this wheel back on. As you can see, we got plenty of clearance. So we got more than enough clearance on it. I'll spin the wheel, make sure the tire looks okay, and that should be good for that guy. So that's our front tire. So next we have our rear tire. Once again, we're going to, like I said, we have this other inner tube. We're going to use the inner tube that's actually on it for this fella. If you're going to use a slightly lighter inner tube, go with the front for the most part, just because the front is, you can have less air in it than the rear tire. But it looks like the 80 pounds is going to hold, and I'm only throwing 95 in the rear, so. So I'm going to throw 85 in the front and 95 in the rear. I've had a lot of good luck with that combination. That's what we're going to do. Pop the bead. Pop the bead. Long pop the bead. Pop the bead. Pop the bead. That's the big thing. Get the bead popped on one side so you can see the rim tape. Get it pop, get it pop, get it pop, get it pop. Pop the other side. Get the tire sitting in the center. That's a big thing. Always go the opposite side. Okay. And this guy don't want to come off. So, for the sake of time, I don't want to mess around. Or do this. This is only because these are wire beaded tires. And they are slightly, they can be a slightly bigger pain in the tuchus. Or the butt, whatever you want to call it. Gotta watch the audience out there, everybody's. I want the wrong person. Hook it there. Trying to get it so you guys can see it. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. Like I said, I hate these wire bead tires. They are just absolutely nasty, hence why I want to kind of change from them to begin with. Just pop that outer bead out. That's the big thing. Get your bead out. Take the tire off. Keep the old inner tube. This thing is gonna be a little bit of a crazy guy here. Getting our old tire. Put that down there. One thing I wanted to, yeah, this was the tire, sorry. Had a slight issue. It wasn't really an issue, I wasn't. See this bit of stuff there? That's what I was worried about. It's not a problem. Just look at the inside, it's fine. Get the inner tube back on. I'm going to reuse this inner tube. Okay, I'm going to keep it like this just because I don't want to go fiddling through the other hassle of getting it on there. If I had tire liners, I would most definitely be pumping these inner tubes up, but I'm not. So one thing you can do is you can put the tire on like that, not worry about your inner tube. Shove the inner tube in afterward, and then pump the inner tube up just a tiny bit. But for the sake of time, and the fact that I got this all messed up. Also, if you leave your inner tube non-pumped up, you can kind of move that around right there. So we're going to put that right there. Get the Handmade in Germany in the middle, and the gator skin part is going to be in the middle too. So go ahead and start your bead around, getting the first side of the bead in, like so, bam. And then make sure at this point in time the inner tube is all the way in. The last thing you want to do is pinch the inner tube at this portion. Make sure it is all the way in there. Okay. Like I said, I always start from this side just because I can push this up at this point. Start there. I call this backbreaking work when you're doing this on video, only because of the fact that backbreaking. It is backbreaking. It hurts your back after a while when you're bending over like this, doing one of these. That's why you never want to have two tires that are on the road go flat. It is normally just a big pain. I think. Easiest way to get this in here. See, if you see that, you see how it slides? That's what I'm talking about. That's why you got to do it both sides at the same time. These hard shell are slightly more a pain than the standards. And these little Bontrager tire levers don't want to get in there and stick. I'm so see here's where you get into a run into a problem. This gets it right in the middle of the tire or the wheel, and it doesn't like to center. So turn away. There we go. It's hard to do it with it focused towards the camera. Apologize, folks. So I got to go the other direction. Gosh darn it. And trying to get that little piece of plastic on the edge of the tire or the wheel is so stinking hard at this point. Gosh darn it. In some ways a little embarrassing. There we go. Holy crap! Is this thing tight? And it's not really wanting to go in. It's not wanting to grab. Oh, gosh darn it. These things are being a pain. I can't get a grip on the wheel, and these want to slip off. This is really annoying, and I don't want to stand on the wheel. The wheel's slipping on my tile floor here. I'm stripping away the plastic. See, the plastic are great because they won't ruin your rims, but on the other hand, the plastic is great. It's terrible because it won't actually get any good solid grip on the wheel itself. And the problem is, can't get enough leverage. I'm worried about bending the bending the wheel if I put too much pressure on the wheel. So. There we go. See, was there some sort of tire lever? There we go. So what I'm doing is I'm holding one of the tire levers in between both my legs in the up position so that I can get enough leverage. Problem is this inner tube is sitting kind of in the way. It was sort of semi over the edge, so I don't want to puncture the inner tube either. So we're on. That took way too long. Folks, that took absolutely way too long. That was ridiculous. So we're going to double check it. Kind of pinch this all in the middle, make sure all the inner tube is out of the way, because this inner tube here was just a little nightmare. And in those cases, you want to check the entire inner tube, make sure it's inside. Okay, so we're good to go. Tighten that a little bit. We're gonna get a lot of popping on this guy, just because this inner tube stem is not even close to being out all the way. This is why I don't like compressed air. Because of the fact that if you go too quickly, something could pop and snap, and then you're not paying attention. So that's why I like pumps. I do not like compressed air. I'll never use compressed air in my bike kit. Now we are up to 50 pounds, it looks like. You can see the core or the stem keeps pushing out, which it should. That's normal. Keep going. Like I said, we're going to put this guy in. And you should hear the setting of the bead there a little bit. A little bit. When you hear it, just kind of stop. Don't keep cranking on it as you hear the bead setting. If you have slightly bigger inner tubes, it won't make as much noise. When you're at the low end of your spec for your inner tubes, you're going to hear a little bit of snapping there. So a lot of people, they worry about that. They think, oh, that's my inner tube popping. As long as you have why the inner tube is flat, you have checked it. Now, if you really want to be on the safe side, after the popping has occurred, deflate the inner tube, okay, and then repump it back up. And normally, but the thing is, if you're to pinch on this again, you're going to have to, you're unsetting the bead, and then you're going to get that popping sound again. All the popping should be gone after at least 80 pounds. Shouldn't have any more bead setting. And I'm going to leave it at 95 pounds. Okay, I'm not going to go higher than 95 pounds with this inner tube. I am pretty confident that this wheel, this inner tube, is going to work at 95 pounds. Okay, so let's get back to our bike here. So once again, we're going to come down, pull down our chain. Pull our rear mech into place like so. Okay. We're going to hold our thing up. Okay, I always hold from the top if you want. And then 50. Start to get the pressure here. And then I push the quick release up. Okay, then I want to make sure the tire is spinning the way it should be, and then it brakes properly. Because you want to check all that stuff after you're done. So, as you can see here, we got our new Continental Deerskin's hard shell, Gator hard shells on our giant road bike. Okay, so easy to do. We still have our replacement inner tubes in the back of our saddlebag. We're going to leave those there for in case we get a flat, because I hate unwrapping inner tubes. So now we still have one extra inner tube. We have 2 extra tires that have maybe 100 miles on them, and we're going to save those for later. I take my boxes, and you can save your boxes if you want, or you can toss them. You got some technical data that will come with the stuff. I toss that. It's same booklets you always get with your Continentals. I'll keep the boxes for a little bit just in case I have a problem. But once you get over 4,000 miles, it ain't gonna matter at that point anyways. And I will take and throw them back behind my shelf up here. Grab my extra tires. Like I said, that gives me 2 extra Continentals, hard shells, a set of these, and 1 other 23 mil tire. So, and an extra inner tube. So, like always, folks, that's how we do this. No, this video went long. It looks like a little over 50 minutes. But I told you guys we were going to be replacing the tires for the road bike, for the race bike I should say. So I want to do that with you guys on video, show you guys, give you another how-to on how to do that. I know we've done one before with the with the Jamis bike, and figured I'd just get this one out for you. Now, real quickly, before we end this, kind of give you a show, or I'll kind of show you here, and we'll do, once I actually get the tool or the valve piece in, I'll show you guys, but let me get the camera off the tripod. Okay, so here's what I recommend as a great pump. Getting everything out of the way. I've got a couple pumps here. So don't get a pump like that. I mean, this is not for pumping up your tires. That's a hobby pump, right? So some people are like, oh, I just get a little pump like that because that's all that's in my, that's all that's in my car. You got tiny little pumps. No, you want yourself a pump like this. Goes up to 100 psi at least. If you're running 25 mil tires, you can get away with this. Normally you'd want like 125 psi, but because of the fact that I'm going to probably never be going above 100 psi. Even in those giant tires, I wasn't going but to 100 psi. So with them, so I wasn't going up to 120 max. And what you got here, you got, see, as you can see, right now it's bled off a little bit. It's now at like 60. Turn it on like Yeah, that's what it sounds like, pretty loud. You see it's going to charge up. I leave it plugged in all the time. And then once it gets up to about 90, 95 PSI, it shuts off. You adjust the pressure here. This is your output pressure to your outlet, and then you have your tank pressure here on this guy. This is Home Depot brand, $65. It came with, see here, show you everything it came with. Everything it came with here is, it came with this kit, which had this piece here, and this piece here. These are all quick release. You do that, like over there, and keep charging, keep charging, keep charging. And cut off, bam, just like that. So it's at 100 PSI. You can turn it on and keep it running at 100 PSI and charge your bike tires up with it. Like I said, I have a Presta valve that has actually has an indicator on it, so how much pressure that's going to be in the tires. It's not a Park 201. The Park 201s are about 125, and you can switch between the two. It is a smaller, I shouldn't say a smaller unit. It's kind of like this with a hose on it, and it's got a valve on it and stuff. From a company on Amazon that makes them, that manufactures themselves. It's a shop that makes them. Started making them. It was a bike shop that actually started making these things. So I got it for like 30 bucks plus $5 shipping and handling. So $35. I'll do a review on that when I get it for this guy. So as you can see here, we got this air nozzle, which I use for blowing off the bike after I've cleaned it. And in your kit here, you come with the car accessory. The only problem is you're going to have to use a separate pressure gauge for your car, but with the new nozzle that I got, I can do both. So it's got a Schrader and a Presta valve adapter on it, and that's pretty much what you're getting with this when you buy one of these from Home Depot. Like I said, Home Depot brand, got a handle on it. It's got a moisture filter, sorry, adjustment. It's got a relief here, so you can relief the tank off. You got a relief down at the bottom, or sorry, this is a bleed off here, or a relief valve in case it goes too high. You got a bleed off down at the bottom. You can bleed off the tank when you're shipping it. So great little compressor. Like I said, mostly I'll be using this for the tires and for the, sorry about that. Yep, forget that for now. Mostly I'll be using this for the bikes, but you could use it for finishing nails and a few things like that. You could use it for airbrushing and painting, some small painting. I want to use it for some heavy stuff, but if you want to probably repaint your bike, you probably could do that with this type of compressor. Not super heavy duty, but good for minor shop needs. So figured I'd throw that in there. This, yeah, puts this at an hour video, but give you a little bit heads up on that. Like I said, great little pump. So it's me, Skagler Bones. I'm out of here. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button below, and like always, keep riding.